What's up? Hello, my name is Eve. I am the founder and trainer here at RevelWell, and I'm here to give you a really nice rundown on how to set up your bike at home so you can get the most out of your training sessions. Big shout out to those who have one of the beautiful RevelWell bikes in your home. Let's make sure you're comfortable, let's make sure you're safe, and let's get you riding. Yeah, so what you will find is, first of all, we just want to make sure you don't have any wobble in the bike. Especially on our performance bikes, you do have discs that sit underneath the bike, and we can adjust those accordingly just to make sure that you aren't rocking and rolling throughout the ride. All right, most important and fundamental way to start your ride setup will be our saddle height. The aim of the game is to get it around your hip height. So that is the top of the hip bone. What you want to do is unscrew this black dial at the back, pull out the pin, lift it up until you're going to roughly hit that hip bone, and then lock the pin back in. From there, just give it a quick measure, find out if you're at the right sort of level, if you're living in the right world, and then if you're feeling like that's going to be a place that you can test it out when you're on the bike, screw the dial back in nice and tight, just again so you're secure when we do mount into the saddle. Coming around to the handlebars, next piece of the puzzle is making sure those handlebars are roughly saddle height or just a little more. So a lot of riders, especially road riders, do tend to ride on the lower side with their handlebars. Rhythm riding, we focus on having the handlebars just a touch higher than that, but you don't want it so high that you're reaching up into the sky, not activating your core. So a really nice way to check it out is eyeball, where is that saddle? Unscrew the pin at the front, lock it back in, dial it up tight, and I like to ride with my handlebars right around saddle height, and that feels really good for my lower back. If you're finding yourself with a little bit of lower back strain, touch higher with the handlebars can relieve that for you. Handlebar distance from your saddle. So this is going to determine how far forward you are reaching when your hands are on that back bar. Elbow is going to come to the tip or the horn of your saddle, and then your fingertips are going to reach out and you're going to try and aim for them to be skimming the handlebars here. I actually do like having a little bit more extension. This isn't an exact science when we measure it like this. You always want to get into the saddle and test it there. So for me personally, because I've got such a long torso, I need a little bit more breathing room with my handlebars in terms of distance from saddle. So I just pull that out. And then the best part about these RevelWell bikes, and maybe you have a different bike at home, but you might also still have the same deal in terms of your numbers here, is that as soon as you do find your number setting that is suitable for you, that's comfortable, lock it in, remember it. If anyone else in your household is riding the bike, you can always just memorize the numbers, find yourself getting set up really nice and quickly. Last piece of the puzzle, I always like to have a towel on deck. The reason being is that when you do tighten these knobs that are on the handlebars, and also under the saddle, you want to make sure that they are so tight, and in order to do that, you don't want to take off any skin on the palms of your hands by getting overzealous with that cranking. So a little bit of pro tipping there, get the towel involved. Let's get you up and into the saddle safely. So whether you're riding in cleats or in shoes, this is my favorite way to mount the bike. Step into a pedal. Step through the bike, land in the saddle. Ta-da! So if you are in sports shoes and you're going to be strapping in through the cages here on this side of the pedal, then you want to make sure the ball of the foot is on the center of the pedal, and that's where the pressure is going to be applied. Tighten it, but not too tight. You don't want to be cutting off circulation here. If you're like me and you prefer to ride in cleats, and this is something that I would highly suggest, especially as you're progressing through your ride journey, this really helps you to activate the posterior chain of your body, so to be working through the glutes more effectively and the hamstrings, huge muscle groups. You'll get a massive, massive shift in your training and your results if you do choose to switch to these cleated shoes. And if you're on a bike that doesn't have cleats, no worries. A lot of bikes you can switch into triple link pedals, and you can just change out the pedal, get yourself a snazzy pair of spin shoes, and you're all set, right? So let's get you clipped in safely. What you want to do is find the cleat under the ball of the foot, hook it in at the front, and then might be a little easier bringing that foot down to the bottom of the pedal stroke, snap down with your heel. Bang, you're going to hear that little clipping sound. Let's do the same on the other side. And then now that we're in safely, I'm going to test out to see whether my measurements are going to be comfortable for my ride. So as you're pedaling here, what you want to find is your leg coming to an almost straight position, soft bend in the knee. If your legs are locking out when you hit the bottom of the pedal stroke, you are going to find yourself getting really uncomfortable, especially as you pick up pace. Locked out knees are no fun. They're no joke for anyone. What you do want to have is that little bit of softness in the knee under your foot. However, above your foot, sorry, but if you are finding yourself with a big bend in your knee, you are not activating your muscles. This is one thing I see a lot in riders, is they ride too low. So if you really want to make sure you're getting the most out of your training, make sure that you've still got a nice length through the leg on the downstroke of the pedal. And then with your hands on the back bar, I do prefer on these particular bikes, because of the configuration of the handlebars, to keep my hand somewhere between position 1, which is the center of the back bar. That's quite high on these bikes, and position 2, which is in the corner of the bike. So I like kind of a 1.5 position. That's super comfortable for me. With my shoulders relaxed down away from my ears, a soft bend in my elbows and my abs in, I don't feel too crowded, and I don't feel too much like I'm reaching forward for my handlebars either. So that's kind of the sweet spot that you want to find. Ask yourself 2 questions. Do I feel crowded, or do I feel like I'm reaching? Let me give you a quick demo. Reaching, locked elbows, not so cute. Crowded. I'm in kind of a perpetual dip. So that little sweet spot there is allowing me to have some breathing room between saddle, between handlebars, and then just making sure that dial is super tight. I feel really comfortable here, so I'm not going to make any extra adjustments. However, the best thing you can do is, once you've set your bike, get in the saddle, test it out, see how it feels, because as soon as you're in the saddle, things can change a little, and then you can make your adjustments and get set to ride. And we'll see you in our next video series, which is going to be all about proper riding technique in and out of the saddle. Thanks so much for tuning in.